wrestling fans. My name is Brian Crazy.
JC Styles.
And we're the F brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. Thanks for tuning in once again. We are back with our review of the longest running weekly episodic television show in history. That's right, Monday Night Raw for May 7th, 2012. Before we begin, please check out the official website of the F brand at FightNationWrestling.com, and please also check out some of the other great shooters here on YouTube that we enjoy: Most Extreme Wrestling, WWE Weekly, HD, that's our good buddy Dave, and a few others that we will leave in the description box below. So we're back with our review of Monday Night Raw. It was a pretty interesting show. Right before we begin, we'll probably just dig into the highlights. We'll run through the show real quick, and we'll get this up for you guys so you can leave your opinions. I think the biggest thing to come out of the night was the return of Paul E. Dangerously, Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar's former manager in the WWE, and one of the biggest wrestling personalities ever, arguably.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got to see Paul Heyman come back tonight. For a lot of people that don't know, basically, Paul Heyman is Brock Lesnar's publicist. That wasn't just something that WWE decided to throw them two together. That's something that they did inside and outside of the WWE. Also continued through the MMA. Paul Heyman was responsible for bringing Brock to MMA. It was him that set up the whole thing with him and Dana White, especially over in New Japan. It was Paul Heyman that went over and handled all the business deals and everything for Brock when he went to New Japan. But I think the biggest thing of this night was he had a public written statement by Brock Lesnar himself, basically saying that basically everything that he's been saying over the last couple of weeks. The biggest news out of this is that he says Brock Lesnar will not be coming back to the WWE, that he quit. Then Paul Heyman kind of threw the mic up in the air and walked out. A lot of the fans were cheering, a lot of fans were booing, but we all know, quote unquote, that Brock Lesnar isn't really quitting the WWE. I mean, they're offering him $5 million. I don't think he would leave on $5 million.
Well, in the storyline sense, he is quitting. In the legitimate sense, behind the scenes, in the business sense, like JC said, I seriously doubt it as well, but it makes for interesting TV. And looking at this angle, if we analyze it a little bit before we run through Raw, I think what they're doing is pretty smart. Brock Lesnar's only signed on for a limited amount of appearances. They've already bid up, 4 or 5 of those appearances between the Extreme Rules pay-per-view and the segments on Monday Night Raw and the Monday Night Raw following. So it's kind of smart to keep Lesnar off TV for a little bit and then have him come back maybe around SummerSlam, build an angle there, then build an angle potentially to the Royal Rumble, and then, you know, the finale at WrestleMania 29. So I could understand why they're doing that, and I think bringing Paul Heyman in is a fantastic idea, because Brock Lesnar is a brute. He's a machine, incredible talent. Like Paul Heyman said, did it in amateur wrestling. He did it in the WWE. He went to the UFC and became their champion. This, that, and the other. But the thing about it is Brock Lesnar's never been a really strong talker.
Yeah.
He's never been able to cut a promo like some of the other WWE superstars have been able to. And that's the thing that really helped about Paul Heyman, is he was the mouthpiece for the War Machine, the next big thing, Brock Lesnar.
Exactly, especially with the only time Brock was really good on the mic was when he was speaking his mind. That wasn't a scripted promo or anything, where he just got on the mic and just gave it straight to you, and if he didn't like you, he would tell you the reasons why. And that's basically what they're kind of working into this storyline, the whole thing with Triple H. He says Triple H broke the deal, so I broke his arm.
Exactly. And I think out of that storyline, we got the whole storyline that we're now seeing with John Cena and Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace was anticipating Brock Lesnar to defeat Cena at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and when that didn't happen, that threw a whole, it just ended Laurinaitis' plans temporarily, and that's why Laurinaitis has just completely snapped. You can see it tonight on Monday Night Raw. He is not the same Johnny Ace that we've seen in previous weeks.
Yes.
He's lost his cool demeanor. I mean, the guy that was, laughing at being insulted in the ring is
now stepping up. Tonight we learned that we will have a fatal 4-way for the World Heavyweight Championship at Over the Limit.
That was big.
Basically, I guess what we will see is not confirmed just yet. Once we have the confirmed match, we will give it to you. But as of right now, it looks like it'll most likely be Sheamus defending against Orton, Jericho,
in that segment backstage, he made it official. It is those 4 guys.
Because he just said that it's going to be a fatal 4-way, and then that was it. They didn't say anything.
It's going to be those 4 guys.
Yeah.
And that kind of stems out of a match that we see a little bit later on in the night. But tonight's episode of the Wrestling Review, not that we don't want to go through Monday Night Raw, not that we don't want to run through each and every match.
To be honest with you guys, Brian's just coming off of being sick. I just got sick over the weekend. My throat is a little hoarse and I can't really talk, so we're trying to get this out for you guys because I wasn't able to sit down and do the Friday Night SmackDown review with you or Brian, just because I was down in Long Island and I got sick down there, and you know, things happen.
Things happen, exactly. And the thing about it is, too, is we could easily run through this. You could find these results on any website. And that's how we like to do the format of these videos. We like to run through every match, every promo segment, and discuss what happened, what we liked, what we did not like. But I think the biggest thing, like JC said, him not feeling well, and us trying to get this up as quick as possible as we can for you guys, the viewers, because we don't want you guys just to watch this video and hear us talk. That's not what we're about here. We're about the fan interaction. We're about you guys leaving your thoughts on these videos, and don't worry about leaving your thoughts. If you don't agree with us, that's fine. That is the best thing about this thing, is that we all can have different opinions, and that's what makes watching wrestling and being a wrestling fan so great. We get to choose which guys we like, which guys we don't like. And trust me, it seems like I put a lot of guys over on this show. But honestly, and I've been promising this for weeks, I'm going to put together a list of all the gimmicks I hated over the years.
Before we move right on to that, also, when you guys are leaving your comments down below, like Brian said, we definitely love to hear your input and love to interact with you guys. You guys are the sole reason why we got into doing this and why we continue to do this. But, you know, Brian brought up a good point in his last video about the update on Rey Mysterio's 60-day suspension, that, you know, it's okay to leave comments. But if you're just going to leave a comment that bashes the product or bashes either myself or Brian's personal life, or you're going to bash someone else who left the comment, just go somewhere else, because you're the people that
the trolls. You're
the trolls that give the good people reasons why they don't want to get in front of the camera and do a review. Guys like Bizarre, who, you know, was afraid to get in front of the camera and he got in front of it. You know, guys like HHH guys like there was another guy, I can't remember. He does video game unboxings. He's a big video gamer. Once I know the YouTube handle, I'll give it to you guys, and we'll put it in the description box so you can check it out. But if you're gonna leave rude comments like that without knowing the full story or giving reasons why you think this certain person isn't as good as you think he is, give detailed reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, and like JC is saying, we love freedom of speech. We are advocates of it. That's one of the best part about living in the United States of America, and I feel very fortunate to be able to grow up here and be able to grow up in a nation that allows freedom of speech. You get to, you know, speak your mind, and I know there's a lot of people on this planet that aren't that fortunate, and hopefully, you know, their countries through change will move towards that. But this isn't a political discussion. This is just being honest. Like JC said, if you guys just like Rey Mysterio, if you're just gonna say, oh, Rey's a washed up druggie, leave that to yourself. If you have reasons to believe that Rey Mysterio maybe should retire, then leave those. Leave a well thought out message so it doesn't look like you're an internet troll, and you will get the respect that you deserve.
Exactly.
Because you spent the time and put it into it, just like me and JC Styles spend the time to put it into these videos. But basically, to run through the night, we ended up seeing an Intercontinental title match between the Big Show and Cody Rhodes, which Big Show completely dominated Cody Rhodes into the point where Cody Rhodes just decided to grab his strap and walk out with it. And Big Show could not believe what happened. And due to him insulting John Laurinaitis early in the night, the executive administrator, Eve, actually made him apologize in the center of the ring to the WWE Universe, John Laurinaitis, and to herself.
You know, I think it's funny that WWE is trying to take what WCW did with Stacy Keibler, and what their TNA is now doing with Miss Tessmacher when she was running around with the suit and the glasses and the dress.
Yeah, but even those roles were very limited. I actually see Eve more as kind of a Stephanie McMahon figure, and the reason I say that is she has a lot of power. I think eventually, listen, hear me out. Hear me out. It proved it last week on SmackDown. She was in control of the show for the night. I have a feeling that we're going to see Johnny Ace more on Raw, and we're going to see her more on SmackDown. And she's going to become a very, very powerful figure. And fans out there, listen to what I'm saying right here. Vince McMahon is very fond of Eve, and I would not doubt that Eve gets a massive push in 2012 in the WWE. And she deserves it. She's an incredible talent. She's very athletic. She can wrestle very well. She has incredible looks. I mean, I could stare at Eve all day, not, you know, trying to sound weird or anything, but it's just true. She's a very pretty lady. Other matches we saw during the night, we saw Kofi Kingston go one-on-one against Dolph Ziggler. This was a good back-and-forth match, but we did end up seeing interference not only from R-Truth, Vicky Guerrero, and the all-American Jack
with
Swagger.
the comb over.
I mean, I can understand liking your boss, the almighty Lord and Master of Sports Entertainment, but what?
Do you remember when Vince McMahon first got his head shaved, and when he came back, he started rocking the comb over, and he still does. Excuse my language, McMahon looks like a shriveled old penis with a comb over, and now Jack Swagger looks like a young penis with a comb over.
Okay, I completely understand. Like, I have all respect for Vince McMahon. I think he is an incredible man. After watching the McMahon DVD, actually, I became more motivated in doing this channel and just producing things. I tried to raise the bar. And I think Vince McMahon has been incredible for the business for many reasons. Yeah, has he been detrimental to the business for several reasons? Yeah, I mean, we could probably produce a video and go back and forth and go tit for tat all day long. But the thing about McMahon is, growing up in the Attitude Era, and I'm not saying we're yearning for the Attitude Era, or we're yearning for this or yearning for that, but even growing up with Vince McMahon before the Attitude Era, McMahon just had a certain look to him, and that's not the McMahon we're getting now. And I understand that his wife's trying to become the senator for Connecticut. That's where we're from. Very good for her. I understand he's playing the grandfather role. He's got 5 or 6 grandkids at home now, and I understand that he's morphing on to another stage in his life and stepping back from it. But I do miss the old Vince McMahon. I'm not gonna lie.
But the overall match was pretty good. I don't think we actually saw any outside interference from R-Truth until Ziggler stepped in.
I think...
not Ziggler, Swagger, I'm sorry.
Swagger was on one side, Vicky was on one side, Truth was over here, they were in the ring. I mean, there was just a whole
you know what aggravates me about this match is you have two guys like Kofi and two guys like Kofi and Ziggler who both have a natural athleticism for in-ring competition. And a guy like Dolph Ziggler, who, you know, they did what they needed to do. They're using Vicky Guerrero to kind of boost him up and build him up a little bit more. And now they're trying to do the same with Jack Swagger again. But I think it's time for Ziggler to drop Vicky Guerrero, because now it's getting to the point where the way that they have him booking is that he can't win a match without help from Vicky Guerrero. I understand he's a heel, and that's what they're trying to portray him as, but he could still be the heel and not need the outside interference.
Well, there was a lot different dynamic when it was just Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero. Then you added in Jack Swagger, and that's when we started seeing a lot more interference. We've always seen occasional interference from a manager, valet, and that's pretty much what they're there to do. They're there to help get their superstar over, and I think that's the one thing that we really need from the WWE is more managers, more valets. And when I heard that they were bringing Abraham Washington back up to the main roster after being down on FCW for a little while and formerly being on the ECW brand, I was, kind of questioning what are they going to really do with AEW. But pairing him with the former tag team champions and their valet Rosa, it's going to make an interesting combination.
Exactly.
And further on what you said, I guess at the weekend events, Mason Ryan was paired with Dolph Ziggler as his bodyguard. So are we going to see a split in the faction? Are we going to see Vicky maybe side with the All-American and possibly Dolph Ziggler pick up a new bodyguard? Are we going to see them drop Swagger? Is this just a storyline for the weekend events? Because we know at the house shows, they don't usually continue on Monday Night Raw. The title matches usually don't have changes. I mean, I think in the last couple of years, the tag team titles changed. Epico and Primo picked it up, and that was like the biggest thing that happened at a house show in quite some time. Not that there isn't solid competition. Please check out the WWE whenever you can. If you miss it when they come in town, you'd actually be doing a disservice to yourself. They put on a great show. But we're going to wrap this up, guys. I'm just going to quickly run through the other matches that happened, and we're going to get this up for you guys, and you can leave your thoughts. We saw Layla and Kelly pick up the win over Maxine and Natalya. I was very happy to see Maxine on Raw, but unfortunately, she kind of just got squashed. She really didn't get to show off a lot of her athletic ability, and I really wanted to see a longer Divas match. We saw a great Divas match on SmackDown, great one at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, good one on Raw. Well, actually, Raw was the quick one with the Bellas, but the previous week it was good. They've really been pushing the Divas division, and I hope they continue with that, because that is really going to make that division successful. Just like pushing the tag team division. Now we have 5 or 6 good tag teams. And if they really focus on that and write a solid storyline, I can really see it going somewhere. Then we see Alberto Del Rio and Chris Jericho go against Randy Orton and Sheamus. Chris Jericho ends up picking up the win. He ends up pinning Sheamus. Post-match, he ends up gloating, grabbing the world title, and basically saying, hey, I pinned the world champion. This should be mine.
But before the match actually ended,
this was the pivotal thing.
This set up the backstage segment, which led into the Fatal 4-Way. Sheamus was getting ready to hit the bro kick on Jericho. Jericho ducked out of the way, and Sheamus connected with the bro kick on Randy Orton, which then followed up hitting a code breaker, which led him picking up the win. And then post-match, after Jericho left ringside, as Sheamus went to go check on Orton basically exploded and hit an RKO out of nowhere. Then we see the two fall out backstage in John Laurinaitis' office, which led to the Fatal 4-Way match, which we'll most likely see Sheamus, Orton, Jericho, and Del Rio.
At the Over the Limit pay-per-view. Exactly. Then we see Brodus Clay versus The Miz. Quick thoughts on this. The Miz actually brought it to Brodus Clay. He brought it to Brodus Clay probably more than any other superstar has, with the exception of Dolph Ziggler.
Yes.
And it was actually a solid match. Miz was in control for most of the match. It kind of had an anticlimactic end, to be honest. I would really like to see Brodus Clay maybe hit the huge suplex and then the splash. It was just kind of a quick end. It just wasn't, for the amount of effort The Miz put into it to get Brodus down, it didn't seem like Brodus put a proportionate amount of effort back into it to win the match.
Exactly.
But solid showing from both performers, and that's the one thing we respect here at the Effin brand. Things might not go off exactly as planned. These are human bodies. Physics are at play, but at the end of the day, even if you don't like the wrestler, respect the athlete for what they do for us, the fans. And then we go into the huge Paul Heyman segment that we covered earlier in the night.
Yeah.
And then we go into the main event. It was originally supposed to be CM Punk versus Lord Tensai with his with his
manager.
No, he's not his manager. He is his follower and his geshi. That's why I was thrown off. I'm like, valet. I was talking about valet's managers, but he's not. He's neither.
He's supposed to be a male geisha.
He's a manservant.
That's his I don't understand the culture over there, but okay.
He's his manservant. I mean, hey, I respect all cultures, so
yes.
And so does my good friend JC Styles here. But then we basically the main event's changed. It's turned into a handicap match. We see Daniel Bryan and Lord Tensai go against CM Punk, and they absolutely dominate and decimate CM Punk. And this match ends when Lord Tensai spits the green mist, ends up grabbing him in the claw, hitting his finishing maneuver, and ends up pinning him still in the claw.
Yes.
And I thought it was a pretty interesting night on Raw. I would have much preferred to see CM Punk go one-on-one against Lord Tensai, because Tensai has it. Regardless of the Albert chance, regardless of whatever you're going to say, Tensai has potential in the ring. It would have been nice to be able to show it against a caliber superstar such as CM Punk.
Yes. Like I said earlier in the video, overall Raw, it could have been a little bit better. It wasn't a bad Raw, I'm not going to say that. It was a decent Raw with the following that it had since WrestleMania. Raw has been on fire since WrestleMania. Tonight, it seemed like they got to that point and they were just like, okay, we really don't know what to do. There's no Cena. There's no Lesnar.
Well, I think it was pretty interesting. We didn't have Cena on Raw except for the short segment. Without Lesnar, but we had Lesnar's mouthpiece, which was pretty interesting. No Triple H. A lot of the younger guys actually got the chance to shine that we've been looking for since last year. I mean, if you've been following me and JC Styles for quite some time, we've been advocating the pushing of guys like Alex Riley, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, you name them. The younger guys that are coming up in the WWE, we want to see them shine. Not that we disrespect the legends. I love the legends.
Yes.
I love seeing the legends involved. And I think that a lot of guys that maybe have been let go from WWE could come back in managerial roles and help push some of these younger superstars and teach them things about the business that they had to learn the hard way. Not that, they shouldn't learn their own way and they shouldn't have to pay their dues, but they could get help along the way, and I think it would help improve the overall product.
So guys, wrap this video up. Please check out all the channels that make up the Effin brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. With the current channel you're watching, Effin True Wrestling, Brian's Fight Nation Wrestling, also the official page, the website of the Effin brand at FightNationWrestling.com. Also check out our good buddies over at Most Extreme Wrestling. We are pro wrestling. Also the Effin True Click. Guys, it's a Monday night. Have an early, safe morning commute. For JC Styles,
I'm Brian Crazy with my final closing thoughts. I thought Raw was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. Like JC said, it could have been a little different. But for a show that's only a few weeks away from a pay-per-view, you usually get a really great Raw right after the pay-per-view and right before the go-home show. So for kind of an in-between show, I thought it was pretty damn good. The swerve with Paul Heyman was absolutely phenomenal. Guys, thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for being loyal fans and subscribers of the Effin brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. Like JC said earlier in this video, it would not be possible without you. So please check back for future reviews, updates, whatever have you. Also check out the great sites that we mentioned. You will not be disappointed. Have a great night.
Also, before we head out, please follow us at Effin True Wrestling, at Brian Crazy 2001, and at JCX Styles on Twitter. Have a great night.
You heard that X, because he's rated X. Yeah.
X-rated.
X-rated. You got it. Alright, for your free humor of tonight. Did you see, when I saw you, with your thumbs, I was just like...
Okay, good night, guys.
Good night. Catch you later.